Hey, don't forget to click, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. And hit the bell notification in the right hand side of your screen so you'll be notified when we drop new episodes every week, Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. Continue to follow Femme Queen Crazy, Sexy, and Cool.
What's up? Welcome to another episode of Femme Queen Crazy,
Sexy.
Cool.
What's going on, ladies?
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's so good to be back.
It is good to be back, and we have a wonderful guest today.
Yes.
We have Dominique.
One of the ones.
Yes.
One of those one, the only one.
One of the ones, honey.
I can't wait to bring her to the couch and
Yes.
have a wonderful discussion. And we just came off of elections. How did y'all feel? I remember that we were in the thread, and everybody was kind of in their feelings, and we were kind of directing that energy, and we had to step back because it was a lot. It was really a lot.
I mean, it's so many nuances that are like continuing conversations around what happened to democracy and like where we are as a people come January, and to not get caught up in the culture of who's to blame and stuff like that. Unpopular opinion for me is that, for a community, because I also feel that, these are going to be challenging times, right? And we know that. However, I feel that we must remember our resilience. For me, the whole fear mongering that we continue to appropriate by continuing to look at the gloom and doom. The hard facts is that we have a fight on our hand. And what we need to do is collectively pull our powers and use our collective powers to move democracy in a way that is inclusive of everyone. In democracy where everyone has the option to economic power, sustainable families, able to have choice and autonomy over their bodies. And we have to start to mobilize in ways that we're positioning the next person to run for our democratic race, the next representative who we'll need in the next 4 years. However, the unpopular opinion that I feel is that, I always say if you fail to remember, you're doomed to repeat. And I think that, we're repeating this because we got something wrong. And there was something that, we were distracted by so many different things, and so many different things were happening at so many different times. And it was like, what fight do we choose? So it became a compromising moment where 14 million Democrats decided to not show up.
I was so bothered by a lot of that when people were bringing up other excuses. I just felt like they were holding Kamala to a higher standard because you have someone who is outright racist, sexist, homophobe, all these things, a bigot, and it was okay. It was okay. I felt, for me, I was hoping that this election was going to bring hope, to America, knowing what it was built off of. I was like, this would have gave me some type of hope that, because they just don't see it for us. I feel like a lot of people voted against trans, and when he was saying he wanted to get people out, and because I feel like white people feel like they're becoming the minority. And so when he says...
That's what I heard it was about. I think, we was on the phone. I'm going to take out some tea. So, when the election first started, when everything was going on with Kamala and stuff, we was on the phone one day, and they was talking about voting and stuff like that, and I told them, I was just like, yeah, I'm not voting. I literally said that because I didn't really. Sometimes I don't like to sit in the fact that I'm trans. Like I feel like being trans is just that's what I am. I'm not trying to be something, and I use that in my everyday life, and that's one reason why I didn't vote is because both candidates, really didn't agree with their stance. I really didn't get to see what they can do for the country moving forward into a new generation of what it was going to be like, and I didn't trust either sides. I still don't, but um, I think it was important, especially when my sisters not just educated me, but definitely broke it down to what is important about it. And it's about the community. It's about myself. So it's a lot of people, like you said, 14 million people didn't vote this time around that usually voted. And I would have been one. And there's a couple people I spoke to on the phone and it was like, I just didn't vote. I didn't believe in either candidates. And they just don't believe in the country that we live in. Because for me, I do feel like both sides is not really here for nobody. I think it's one is here for money and one is here for whiteness, you know. Um, but I do understand what we need to do to get done, and I think it is we have to stand. I think it's important for us to stand. We should have stood behind Kamala, but I understood why we didn't before we had that conversation.
But what's weird is one wants to erase us.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like
I think
I'm
about,
so
I just don't trust either. Like, I
but
really
those
don't, I
people
don't
who didn't
trust.
vote, you are
but
picking
here's
a
the
side.
thing.
Like
I don't trust.
So
I'm
here's the
sorry.
thing. Like I said, I don't want to get into the culture of blaming who did what. I think
It's a
I
blame.
think again, like, you know,
But it's not really a
there's
blame.
I
It's not
think,
really
It's
a
just saying
blame.
people
It's
who
more
but
are
here's
just
the
like
thing.
your opinion on what, because you're asking people to vote.
you
You're
see the
asking
So
number
people to
of
vote.
Latinos
So
that
it's
voted for
like,
him, and he about to get the folks.
so
That's the
so
first
here's
thing he's doing.
so here's what
because
I'm
they believe in what he said. I don't believe in
But
what
what
he
does he
said.
say? Like, how do we go through that
To
rhetoric?
them,
Like, I just don't feel like hearing the stuff that he would say, even when we went through the term
they
before.
want to
Like,
live
it
as a white
causes
man.
a.
They want to live as a, if I'm here, I'm showing you in the world on TV. Even when I go to Australia and I sit and watch the news, it's crazy. I gagged. I actually gagged when I was in Tokyo, and the commercial came on. This is the first time I've been a place and out of the country. This is the first time I actually got to see America in a bad way. Like how they try, on TV, like
That was
here.
the first
No,
time.
I'm talking about like here where see a commercial said like save, feed the people, feed the kids over here in Africa. You really don't see like that in America, but they were doing it in Tokyo. When I went to Tokyo, I saw a commercial like that, and I was like, oh shit. Most of the time you don't. When I go to watch TV commercials of the news, or just the news, you don't really get to see us in a bad light. They kind of put us on a pedestal. And you have these people that watch TV that are going in these like the guy, I think is a march going on in Mexico right now, about wanting to, they're trying to get here to in America before Trump gets into office. And that's the crazy part. It's like he's gonna send you. I don't agree with him, but I also don't. I didn't agree with Kamala either, or the blue side. I would say.
But did you vote?
He definitely. I voted for Kamala. You know that.
Okay. I mean, I think and all else, like with all these nuances about what to believe, I mean, there's another nuance that says that, people vote with their pockets, and given the inflation, that people were willing to say that I don't care about your rights. How am I feeding my kids? How do I get back to work? How do I move my kids out of my basement? Like those type of things were happening in real time as well. And I think, like, I don't believe that that was the, like, overpowering thing that led people to that decision. We have to also look at the genocide that's happening in Gaza, in Congo and so many other places. And I think all these things happening at one time. But in the eye of all that, when you look at who to choose, it was Kamala. It was Kamala. Make no error. She was the one, because what we are about to experience, and I'll say this, like, I think we have to repeat it again because there were things that we didn't do the last time. And I think a lot of us portrayed some of those things by continuing to have conversations that divided us beyond gender and ethnicity. And while we
Kept doing
continue
that.
to have these conversations, we fall into the hole of making it easier for people to say, you see? So again, they came in and they took away the rights that, so many people have fought for. I think about my ancestors. I think about those who died so we can vote, so we can have the right to vote. I think about that, right? I think about, for me, when I think about what this would look like I'm the girl, like I've survived the recession. As a child, I was in the recession. Growing up as a teenager, I saw the HIV epidemic wipe out a whole community of people. I've survived a pandemic. So I come from a time where we didn't have jobs. We couldn't get jobs. We didn't have agency. We didn't have all these privileges that so many of the youth today take for granted by wanting to already get rid of traditions that came before them without honoring it. And then we, or the elders, at some point became bitter and did not want to continue to teach because the kids were resistant. So there's so many different things to understand why we go through what we go through. But it's important that through this we learn and that we start to have a universal experience where we begin to pull our collective power together and begin to move for a new world because we're in for a fight. And for those of us who've already experienced that, it is my divine right to make sure that I help the youth and help them navigate through these tough times. We have a fight. It's going to be a fight longer than 4 years. It takes a lot of time to change state legislation.
And
whole
that's what
country
people
red.
don't
The whole country
understand.
is
That's
red.
what people don't understand. A lot of
It's a
times they
red
feel like
country.
they don't realize that, what we were going through. What is so funny is like stock. As soon as Trump got in office, which the stocks and all that stuff went back up. That's why them rich people want to keep him in there. But when people be like, "Oh, we had so much money when Trump was in here," you don't realize what Obama did prior. Like, things have to be done. Like that don't all happen in their term. That's them living off of what happened prior. So
But
I
they
think just
feed
people
off
need to
of
do
they
their
feed off
research,
they
but
do, and
they don't.
that's the problem.
They really don't.
Research.
Right.
I
Research.
think a lot of people are not researching, but I think one known reality is that we know America hates Black women.
Yes.
Well, they're standing together, and I want to shout out to the
Ooh,
Black women
Black
because in this
people,
time,
period.
Black women, I'm just so happy that Black women are understanding. Maybe I feel like maybe this needed to happen for Black people, for Black women especially, to realize, one being, one sound. Because Black women are always showing up in spaces to fight for others. And it's one time when they needed so many people to fight for them, you seen it.
I always
Literally
say which
seen
one
it. You
is.
seen
I always
it.
And let
say
me tell you something.
Like the
Black women
numbers.
are like one of the lowest minorities that are treated with the most disrespect in our country as a country. And the one time that we had the opportunity to stand up for them, we didn't.
I know.
But like I
mean,
said, I know for those of us that did, I applaud you. For those who felt silenced, who were afraid, who chose not to do anything, I don't want to tell you that it's all right. But what I want to tell you is that we're in for a fight. And I need you to join this fight and have this experience that we're all having so we can move towards a better place where we all get to have, when I say power, I mean economic power, the right to housing, education, and to love who we love without limits, and to have the right to gender affirming care, and to have autonomy over our bodies. I think about little brown and Black babies going to school now being racially profiled, and law enforcement continues to go unchecked under this administration. We need to really understand that this will spiral and target the communities who thought that their voice didn't matter. We're the first ones that's going to feel that. We're the first ones that are going to be impacted by having law enforcement go unchecked. Could you imagine? I think about my nieces and my nephews who have to go to school every day, and I wonder and fear for their safety every day. I fear for my elders who have to pay so much for insurance now. Social Security gonna cut it. Like the medications, life-saving
Yeah, my aunt
medications.
called me crying.
It's this
She's scared.
impacts so many people. So I refuse to believe that economic or inflation was like the motivating force
I mean, I
because
think
you
some people.
sacrifice all of this
Yeah, but
for
they don't because
economic
they didn't
growth.
think that far. But I think people were thinking about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And how they're
What's in
feeling
front of
right
them.
now. Right. And they're like, okay, this was because it's the Democrats. They're going to blame it
They're blaming
on
it.
that's, that's,
Like I
so they're
said,
The
like,
realization, like people are looking at what's going on in front of them. They're not looking at further down the line. There's some people don't even believe they're going to make it 10 years down the line because, they're trying to see how they can do better tomorrow. And some people are putting in their faces that, well, this can do better. You can do this, you can do that. And what I'm realizing for me, I always knew this, and it was a sad realization for me of how at the bottom of the, totem pole we are, of how we're treated, of Black women, Black trans women. Is just, because I even seen some Black trans, some white trans sisters voting for Trump. So,
because
yeah.
they still feel that some of them
They are
have that
not exempt.
privilege. No,
I
they're
I
not.
warn you, my
But I always
sisters.
say
No,
that,
but I
like,
feel I be
which one
feeling like they want us to
outweighs
be.
racism or sexism?
I be
Like,
feeling
patriarchy.
like
Like, I feel like, even though
they
I
want
was
us to be
surprised at the
DL.
numbers
They
because
don't want to get caught messing with the girls. I feel like them motherfuckers, they don't
yeah,
want
that's
they
always
don't
like,
like when we out like they don't I feel like they don't really like when the girls are out loud. That's why it's like the first time you're in office, as soon as you get in office, it's the first thing you're talking about. Why?
yeah,
Because
they,
we give permission. We show them that you can be who you need to be and that you don't have to be defined. Like gender is
they're
not a
scared of that,
monolith.
honey.
And they're scared to see us live outside of what they have been conditioned to believe
They
gender
hate in
believes.
us what they see in
So we give them
themselves. So
permission
they
and we
feel
show
like
by
that.
example that we have the ability to just be who we innately and who we are. It is our divine right to be who we are. And I think
I
that
just think
scares
that a
them.
lot of that stuff too, like, and I know y'all don't like to go into this or whatever, but I think religion plays a big part in the way a lot of people feel towards us. Because it's always like that's why they feel like we're so wrong and gender is so wrong and gay is so wrong and trans is so wrong. Like it starts from religion.
I
Mm.
think that I mean I agree. I think that religion is used at times to cause more harm than help, and I think that that's why it's important that you have your personal relationship with the God of your understanding. For me as a Christian, I know that I love God. I know that God loves
You
me.
love God.
Yeah, and I know that I would not have been able to sustain in this life without God.
Yeah,
So
I'm more
that
so
is
spiritual because I think
that is my
sometimes
thing.
religious just limits education. Like, it's a lot of times I remember as a child, and I don't want to, because we've been getting really deep on this. I want to lighten it up in a second. But I know that as a child, when I had questions, don't question God, don't question God. Like, honey, I just want to see some evidence. Like, not saying, like,
The
certain
evidence is
things.
that you're breathing, my
No,
love.
that's great. Like I believe in God. I believe that there's a spiritual power in God in me, but certain things I want to see
You
again.
want
Like
questions.
like
You got
certain things that
questions.
they said. Let me see somebody walk on water again and something like that. Like I just want to see
God
certain
said the
things
last
like that.
miracle we would see
I
would be
don't.
the one at
I don't
Jonah.
think
That
that's not for me. I feel like
that's for me. Let me see,
I think
bitch. Like
spiritual
show
gives a lot
me.
of
Like I want to
people.
see it.
I feel like spiritual gives
I
a
want
lot
to
of
see a
people the
man
gun to
born a
kill
woman. I want to see
others.
how come the woman came from the man when women produce the babies. Like it's
Well,
all
we know
like
what that is. That's patriarchy. I feel like that
yes,
has
but
to
a
do.
lot of that is
But
like
I
man
think
That's a
religion
made.
was
deep.
weaponized to keep us under
It's
one mind and to control
it's
us. But I just
control.
think that once you have a relationship with the God of your
So you're more
understanding,
spiritual than well, why do you claim
I don't
Christianity then if
because
you
that is how I grew up. I'm not conditioned to
so
think
are we
that no
brainwashed?
I'm not conditioned to think that no other religion has faith in God. Right?
Another
So what I
question I
will
have,
say
right?
is that
Well, are we
I'm
getting?
not
Are we getting
So
to?
are
Are
we
we getting?
brainwashed? Like,
Are we getting to it?
why
because this is
why do you
another
call
thing.
it
Are we getting?
brainwash? So
Because this
I
is why I
Oh
call it
God.
brainwash, because we're scared to think outside of what we've been taught. We're scared. They
are you
scare us
I
from day
just
one.
I
They say
just
you're going to hell. You like, they paint these pictures
Every
of
day,
if
but
you
see
every
think
day
but
we've
something
been warned. They've been
differently,
telling
you
every
it,
day.
it limits
You
our
ever noticed? Every
education.
single
But
day we've
search
been.
the
Hold
word
on.
and divide the word according to thine own heart. Never lean on your own understandings. What I will say is that the word is rightly divided by those who actually read the word of God. Right?
Yeah, but
So
that's
understand what I'm
man-made.
saying.
Like a
So
man wrote that and a white man.
there are so many different ways and
My face is one.
so many like examples on what's
You
happening
know the
even
pop.
now in the
You don't ever
current times
notice how
that
every
the
single
Bible has
day,
spoke
we're
about.
every single day, like we're
Like, how
believing
can
that
y'all
God
not
is coming.
believe
We're
that
about to
God?
get. We're like ever since I've been born, I've been
They say
feeling
he's coming.
like something's coming. Like we're about
They've
to
been
die.
telling
Like
us that.
ever
They've
since
been
I was
telling us
born, and I'm not
that.
saying nothing that there's no possibility of things. I'm not saying that, but it just seems a little bit weird that those be the same people that tell you what you can and
And
can't
they
do.
be
They
angry.
judge
But like
you,
I
And
they
then
said,
the
be
so that
religious,
is,
angry.
have
but
you
that
ever
is
got into a
religion.
discussion with a
That is
religious
not
person?
God.
They be
That
the
is the
person who be
people.
angry. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
we're
that
just
is
having
not
a
God, my
discussion. You
love.
should
That
be
is not
educating me
God.
and loving me. Those are the same people who are so judgmental.
Yeah.
Like, why are you judging me when you're supposed to be showing me love? Show me the way. You know what I'm saying? And
I've
I
been
don't.
having issues. I think I told you I've been having issues with my spirituality. Like I've been kind of like because I grew up in church.
Me
But I
too.
started to realize, especially when I started to work on my healing journey, I started to realize certain things just wasn't as it. It's like, wait, I don't really. What's this about? What's that about? It was a lot, especially. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because I know we're on this platform, but I don't. It's just some stuff is, still
They be
working
quick to
out.
throw somebody out in the name of Jesus. Like, you quick to throw your child out in the name of Jesus. Like, what? That I don't think that's what my Jesus would want. I mean, well, you know, like, no, I
Like I
just feel
said,
like
that is the difference between religion
it is. It's a
and
just
faith.
It controls people.
And I think it
It controls people
It
to
is
do what
control.
other people want. It
And
gives
it's
people the full.
brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's in one hand they're saying that God loves you, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way because I am spiritual, but I'm not religious, and I
spiritual.
did grow up in church, and I was one of those people. No, because the Bible says such and such, and I was at Bible study on Wednesdays, and I was in Italian for tongues, and I was growing up in Pentecostal. You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, but how come? And they be like, don't you question God? And that right there was immediately flagged for me because I'm like, why? Like, what do you mean? Why can't you tell me this? Like, what do you mean? Don't question it. Like, that's no.
I just want to say one thing.
Yes, love.
I love the Lord. He heard my cry.
We can all sing the gospels.
Yes. Okay. So
It's a minister, and
I feel like
turn
it's.
the
I
gospel
feel
when I'm
like it's
feeling
really
down,
deep. I
but
feel like that's really deep. It's kind of scary. I feel like spiritual is really deep. She starts singing.
Yes.
She
And
starts
then,
you
singing.
and you
feel
get
that.
it, they try to
But
escape,
see-
and she try to
They try to
she
escape
try
and run from the
she's
conversation.
deflecting. She's
Deflect.
No, what
deflecting.
I'm doing is giving God
Deflecting and
praise to
pain.
confuse the enemy.
No, I don't think
Why
that.
is that the enemy? Why
think
is
that
that
the enemy,
See, that's
yes.
you judging, calling
I'm
somebody
not
the
judging
enemy.
you. I said to
Yes, you
I
are.
said
Who
to
is the
confuse.
enemy?
I was speaking in
Yes.
general.
Who is the enemy, my love?
So the word of God teaches me to make a joyful noise unto God because it confuses the plots of the enemy.
Yeah.
And the enemy is those obstacles that the enemy will use to thwart you off of your path, your lighted path. And that's why I say, for whoever believe in the God of their understanding, that's according to your beliefs. Love who you love, be who you love, and love God the way you love God. I don't have to love God the way you love God, for
Yes,
me
it's
to
your
not
personal-
like you.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
But
wish
they do,
everyone
they
find
get
their way
angry.
closer to God. But I will say this, as you were saying, I love God. You
You
love God? What's up with you?
Don't say,
But-
don't point at us and say we don't love
Yeah.
Oh
God.
my God,
See,
see
that
how
be
y'all
the
do it?
problem.
Attack.
That be
You
the
see
problem.
it?
She's
Attack.
trying
You
it.
see how the
They be
girls
trying
are?
it.
They be trying
we
it on
love
the low.
God.
They be
You see
trying it
how
on
the
the
girls
low.
are?
That's it. We're
Anyway,
just open-minded.
I
and
love
we
the
ask
Lord.
questions.
Let's fight.
But because, like, another thing, this is one last
Can we
thing that I'm
stop?
going
I'm
to
not gonna
say.
speak
No,
anything
can you
else.
explain this to me?
I can't
Well,
explain. You need to call your
about to- I
pastor.
just wanna know.
It's
You need
about
to
to
call your
be.
pastor.
It's her sit.
Yeah, we about to- we
Last
about to-
episode, was all about me. So this episode is all about Miss Tab, and we about to get into some questions.
Why?
Since you want to go, you
I'm
have a
getting the
question?
cramp. Lord help me right
No,
now.
I was just wondering, but I'll get off the God thing. But I mean, honestly, what do you think the slaves is praying to the same God as the master? Hello, somebody.
What you said?
The slaves.
You said what you said?
Like, do you feel like they was praying? These are just questions, Lord. Don't choke. You be scared to ask these questions. You be like, Lord, don't give me, Lord, don't choke me. But like, listen. The slave, what you think? Like,
It was
when
the
is
question.
our turn?
Yes.
Like, the slaves was like 400 years. I know they was praying to that same God.
Well, we got 4 more of those to go now.
Child, see, now when is our turn, Lord?
Sometimes.
Lord, when is our
See,
turn?
I don't want to like. I
Lord,
don't want
we
to. I don't
want it,
want to.
Lord.
I don't want to talk
Please,
how I talk
Lord.
on the
Y'all
phone.
better stop
'Cause I don't want to
playing.
be
I'm not playing.
judged.
I'm dead ass.
I don't want to be judged. So I'm not going to say what I
You
want to
see?
say.
You believe.
I'm
I
not
do
going to
believe,
speak my
but
truth because
Okay.
we're on this
yeah.
platform,
So
and
let's turn it
I
around
don't
because
want to be
I'm
judged.
so excited to get to our guest. So let's go ahead and put Tabytha in the
Yes.
hot seat for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Asia, what's up? Give her some coach. She put you in the hot seat last time.
I don't think it was really a hot seat. Let's
No,
just.
No, it was a
I
it
think it was
beautiful
getting
It was a
close.
beautiful
I think
thing.
it
It
was.
was a beautiful
I think it was an
seat.
opportunity for our viewers
Yeah,
to
girl, but
understand.
you know what I mean. Let's not.
Yeah,
Come
we're
on.
not gonna be in no hot seat. I'm
Yeah.
not in no hot seat.
Well, it's warm.
It's warm. It'll get hot.
It's
Ask
a
the
little
wrong
toasty.
question.
It's a little toasty.
It'll get
It's a
hot.
little
Ask the wrong
toasty.
question. Let me stop.
So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna kick it off here first. When did you get into ballroom?
Wow. I got into ballroom in like '92. I came to Christopher Street with my friend Myra. She had brought me out to Christopher Street, and there is where I met like the people who I know now. For so long, like I came out, I started hanging out. One of the first people that I met was Melissa Extravaganza, and I met Letitia and everyone else. As y'all know, like those people have been a part of my journey. I joined the House of Revlon after I think I was in Mugler for like a week. And yeah, it
Pump
was
that
fun.
cheek.
No, I
Okay.
mean, you know, it not. I love the House of Mugler. That's when Nigel, everybody
Yeah.
was there. We had went
Not
to
just say he
Nigel's
don't
house.
remember you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Girl,
just kidding.
whatever.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, I know you.
I just-
You have to
that's-
be.
I'm just
Trust
kidding.
me. And I think like a lot of people don't know the origins or they don't know who Tabytha is. And I just don't really have the capacity to like. Sometimes it's very traumatizing to go down memory lane because you also look at the good but the bad, and I am one that overthinks every moment. So when I first joined, it was in '92, and then soon after, like I became a Revlon. One of my first balls I won was the Ebony Ball back then.
Okay.
Question. My question is because you have overcome so much, being away for 14 years and you're a recovering addict, what is the recipe? Because you're an anomaly. What is the recipe to change it around like this and come full circle and be the woman that you are today? How do you how do you not allow that trauma to overcome you or fall back into those ways?
It's consistent work. It's making mistakes. You know, I've made some bad choices along this journey. My journey was not easy. It's coming home in 2013, and I could have let fear keep me stuck, right? And fear can only do two things. It could get you frozen or it could make you move. And I knew I had to move. When I came home in 2013, I didn't want to be stuck. I saw people talking on phones. The world was different. I was able to, like, I had a chance and the opportunity to start all over and to get those things that I needed. Like I said, there wasn't agency and stuff when I was there. So there was agency. There were things that people were doing. I lost so many of my friends. And just looking at the people who I used to be with no longer here, I knew that I was not going to go back. A lot of people come home and they become institutionalized. And this is why I believe God so much because I started to like really move in a way that I know I could not have done this by myself. So, you know, the mistakes that I made along the way, I don't regret those mistakes because they helped shape the person I am today. I started to realize, and what kept me going is I started to realize that there were more people that loved me than those that did not like me.
So briefly, what would you tell those people who are institutionalized?
For me, I know it's unpopular belief. Get you a therapist. Talk those
Yes.
things out. Get those things out of your head. It's not easy work. It's nasty work. But you're only as sick as the secrets that you keep inside of you. You have to turn yourself inside out and you have to begin to trust people. And that's hard, especially when you're coming home and you've been institutionalized and you know that you can't trust yourself moving from one cell to the next, especially if you are a gay person in jail or you're a trans person in jail. It's like you are, it's like a microscopic world of another world. So the oppression and the subhuman treatment that you get makes you feel so grateful when you come home. You know, I started to see girls again. I started to see like my sisters. Like I was in jails where I was probably the only one girl in the whole jail. You know, so it was like being around that. You start to develop that skin that protects you because you have to become a creature of habitat. So when I came home, and what I would say to them is just to make sure that you get your therapy, because that was my way of seeing that I didn't have to stand in the shower with my underwear on or my sandals, that I was safe, that nobody was coming in there and back me.
Um, what was it for you to help you leave the drugs alone? Like, how did you, in that moment, can you bring us to that moment that helped you to say, you know what, this is enough, I'm done?
My husband,
Okay.
um, he saved my life. He really did.
Breathe, sis.
I remember one day being out on the run, and my husband fought to get me. For a minute, we were distant because I had disclosed that I was trans, and we didn't talk for a while. And when he knew I was out there, he would literally go to my projects and look for me. And my husband is white as a bulb, you know, so they used to think he was police. And I remember a friend of mine named Dante had came over to me and said, "Look at him. You think he deserves this?" And I was so stuck in my sickness. And he, like a week before that, like he almost got cut. They almost stabbed him up. And he was like, he's gonna get himself killed looking for you. He deserves better. And then I remember my husband holding my hands, and after he cursed me out and called me all types of zombies and stuff, and you know, because he was upset. And he told me it was either the drugs or him. And I remember the moment like yesterday because I had a whole pocket full. And I walked over to this person who I'm going to remain nameless, and I gave them everything I had in my pocket. And I got in the cab with my husband, and we went back home, and I never looked back. So, yeah.
People see this picture perfect woman, the advocate, the educated woman, the up and coming realness contender. What is it that Tabytha is nervous about in life? What is something that is a insecurity for you? Not a physical insecurity, but what keeps you thinking or keeps you moving the way you move?
That's a beautiful question.
Well, what keeps me moving the way I move is the people who I'm surrounded with that inspire me. I used to have a poverty mindset where I felt like everyone had to help me who had access to things, until I realized it was one crucial moment when everyone had turned their back on me because of the decisions that I made. And I knew it was in that moment I couldn't sink, I couldn't fail. I could not let myself down. I had come too far. And it was then that I realized that even though in their love they couldn't touch me, because this one I had to get up on my own. And what inspires me is by having them around me, continuing to inspire me. What people see today is because of one man. One man saw something in me and put me on this path. I don't know to this day what he saw in me, but I hope that like My goal is to live a life that I was destined to live, and and be someone that my family would be proud of, my biological family and my chosen family. And those things inspire me to want to do more, to see others having some of those same challenges that I face, and knowing that in me they can see that they can continue, that we are more than just dying at the age of 33. We're more than just someone's secret. We're more than just walking balls and t-shirts and shorts and showing our femininity, that we can access spaces, that we can go to school, we can have housing, we can be loved, we can have careers, you
What
know?
how did your twin feel? You have a twin, Tabytha has a twin. How did your twin feel when you said, I'm transitioning?
He was very protective. My whole family didn't want it in the beginning. They didn't even understand what it was. And they were very confused. And it was then that I learned that you have to be gentle with your family. Like, I didn't become the woman I am because I went to sleep and woke up and bam, and I had to give my family grace. Like, me transitioning, they started to transition with me. And it wasn't always easy in the beginning, Thank God for my sisters and my siblings who, it took them some time, but they love me. Like, all my nieces and nephews call me auntie. They call me by my name. And it took a lot of work. We come from a very faith-based family. So certain things that was supposed to happen to me, they saw that didn't happen to me. They thought I would never come home. They thought I would not be able to survive. So them seeing that continues to make them proud of me, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So me coming home and changing my life around was something that I needed to do for me. And I know that people see like the professional one, but I made some mistakes. I've learned from them. I've decided to continue to keep going.
So I first want to tell you that that person sees what we all see, and I hope you see that, the beautiful individual that we all see. But I want to get into something in Ballroom a little bit. Do you feel like do you feel like you get the same to get the respect? Do you feel like you get the same respect that your peers get, that you came out with? Do you feel like you get respect at all for who you are?
I think that, to most people, I'm new, so a lot of people don't know me. I don't think that I feel anything about the level of respect they have for me. I know that they didn't make it easy for me. Some of them, because before I got locked up, some of them saw me in different stages of my life, right? So to see a whole different person accessing different spaces, some of them knowing me for years, like recently we had James, who has a connection to me, Leia, Letitia, having these conversations remind me of that little child who was trying to find their way. And I got caught, right? I got caught up, made decisions, and I got locked up. But coming back home, like, I don't think it's a thing like, do I feel like I need the respect? I think they earned whatever respect that they have from community. And I think that equally I have earned my respect. I have earned my respect.
But how do you feel, because your core group of people are icons.
My class,
your
yeah.
class are icons. So how do you feel in your heart of not being there with them?
I
and
feel like
being
I
in this
missed out a
moment?
lot. I feel like I missed out a lot. I missed out on creating like those moments. Like, I came home and I was kind of stuck in a time where I felt like, it was family. Because back in the day when we were Revlons, we would pile up in the car and go to Philly, and it was real family bonding. Like, we didn't have a lot of stuff that Ballroom has today. We only really had each other, and that kind of made us draw close to each other. So I came home and all those things were changed. People were doing different things. I was able to connect with people who probably had heard of me but didn't know me. You know what I'm saying? And for the ones that knew me, they were still trying to get used to the new me. So when I started to walk balls, they didn't remember. I remember Michael Haynes, Uncle Mike didn't know who I was till we was telling the story. He remembered, oh, you was the one that walked with DeAndre. The only one, like, if people really want to know, like, dirt. It's not even dirt, but like my origins. Like go to James, like go to Letitia, go to Ricard. What is it? She just got deemed icon. Shayna. You know, these people know me for years. They've watched me grow. Ask Lisa, ask Tony. My thing is, I started to understand that I didn't have to tell my stories because others would, but I also knew the importance of opening my voice and telling my narrative, right? Because for so long, people kept saying, use your voice, use your voice, use your voice. Tell your story. I've shared things with y'all, you'll be like, oh my God. You know, and people don't know those things to me, but I think those things will come out at time. Like lately, things have been coming out, but in regards to where they are and where I'm at, I feel like I missed out on those opportunities. Like I miss growing up with my friends. I miss being around them. But I'm still around them. Most people think I'm legend and I'm not. You know, I came home. I started walking in 2015 and that's it. Like, so I just feel as though that it's not about them respecting me. I think not just me being an international advocate for ballroom culture and trans culture. I think my competition on the floor, like I've had some moments. I've made my name in ballroom. They know who I am. I don't worry about like the status
Do
and
you
all
want to
of that.
be a mother?
I am a mother.
Do you
Like,
want to be a mother in
do I
ballroom?
want to be a mother in ballroom?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, of course I would like to be a mother of a. Why you got to say it like that?
Because you talking about I am a mother. We know
Because
that.
I don't
Like,
think
you
that
know what
I
I
don't
was
think
talking
that
about.
I think that most of us have maternal instincts, and it's just who we are. We are nurturing and
No, she loves to
motherly.
go around the
Do,
question.
Right?
yes,
No,
girl.
but I think
yes,
that-
Yes, mother
no.
swim.
No.
I want to. Well, let's make
Okay,
it hot.
so here's the
have-
thing.
I think that
let
we,
me ask
I
a
think
question.
that, I
Come on
think
now.
that we realize that we can go on and on and on about us, and I think that maybe we will have an episode where we can go ahead and talk about us the whole episode. But I'm very excited to bring our guests on.
Yeah.
So
I have a couple more questions, but we'll wait to the next episode for her.
See, they still want to get me. I don't understand why they want to
not-
get
why do
me.
you
It's
think
like
not
it's
that.
about
getting
getting.
you,
They
it's
made
getting
me
to
cry.
know
If y'all was
you.
here last, if when y'all see this
I think
episode,
it's a getting to know you.
yeah, so my tears were flowing.
She
I mean,
cried too.
Yeah, like why you ask that
I
question?
ain't crying.
Well,
so
I
y'all,
wanna-
Oh, we got you, boo.
Well, I like to go deep. My thing is, I want people to see how you feel about things. I think sometimes we like to go around. We like to give people the perfect answer with certain things or something that we think. I like to get people to see the deep root in who you are, and so ask those type of questions.
No, I mean I love that you ask those questions. I don't have anything against
I
those
have more
questions.
deep questions, but we'll.
I mean, we'll get into it on the next episode, of course.
yes. So when we'll be right back with our guests.
Hey, don't forget to click, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. And hit the bell notification in the right-hand side of your screen so you'll be notified when we drop new episodes every week, Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. Continue to follow Femme Queen Crazy, Sexy, and Cool.
Welcome back. We have the icon, the author, the actress, the beauty model, the runway model, all the above. This lady has been advocating for the community before it was even popular to do. She is one of my idols and she inspires generations. We have the star. You might remember her. She has the resume goes crazy, but you'll probably remember her from Pose, known as Electra. We have Dominique Tyra Jackson, baby. Welcome.
Round of applause, baby.
Oh my
That your
God.
LSS.
Yeah.
Shimmy.
Thank you for putting the Tyra in there, and thank you so much. And Tyra is that woman that was my cocoon, and now that I am able to embrace, comprehend, and understand the power of owning what was mine, I am able to say that I am Dominique, because Dominique is my birth given name. And because of my transition, I felt like I had to transition out of that. But what I did not comprehend was that it was already written. So even though my family did not comprehend why they were naming me Dominique, there was a higher power that did.
Let's go.
She's deep.
Well, that's beautiful. I wish I could have kept my name.
Okay. Look, they try to tell me to keep my. They said I don't think that it's like neutral, but
But I
like,
will
no,
tell you
Bronx
this,
had their name. I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
I was working at Bronx, at a center before it became Destination Tomorrow. And when I was working there, I was not afforded the ability to have the position that I was actually doing because I didn't have the degree. And so I saw this name of the person that was coming in to supervise the work that I had put into place. And when I saw the name Gregory, I expected this big white man to show up. And it was a young woman who had just completed her bachelorette. And I asked her, well, your name is Gregory. Like, how do you function in the world like that? And she was like, it was something that was given to me and I own it. So that was for me. But for some people, you have to also comprehend it's different for everyone else. So for some people, the name that you're given is because you're not understood in that spirituality when you are born, and you have to find that. And for some of us, they understand our spirituality, they understand who we are, and they try to deny it, so they rename us.
So, how you doing? That brings me to this question because you just said Destination Tomorrow, and I believe that was where you were working before your big break. So my question was always, I wondered where you were mentally and physically, like what you were doing before your break on Tempress. It's a two-part question as well. And did you always want to be an actress?
Okay, so let me take the first part. Before I was on pose, I was on strut. So I had to strut before I could pose. And
Let's go,
thank you,
lady.
Genovia, for that. And what it was, I was in a space of, I had so many trials, challenges in life. And I had settled into, okay, I finally have my green card. Yes, I did not have a green card. I was an undocumented immigrant in the United States fighting for myself. And in advocating for myself and in growing, I realized that I had to, how should I put it, just at that space and time, not having a green card, listening to people talk about what they would do, listening to my own people talk about immigrants themselves in Ballroom was tough for me. So that was not something that I could come out of. So when I finally got the green card, it was like, be patient, be patient, be patient. I was trying to do everything. I was going to the home channel networks and trying to find jobs. I was even doing the, what do you call it? Work from home, and work from home programs meant that I would get beads and make beads and go out on the street corner and sell them without whatever. And so I had finally come into getting the green card in 2015. And from that, Strut came about, and Strut was amazing. And I thought Strut was my 15 minutes because we got the phone call that we would not have a season 2. And I went to an event, and Sean Coleman was there. And as Sean Coleman was there, I said to him, we're not going back to Strut. There will not be a season 2. He was like, what? What do you mean? And I was like, you know what? That was probably my time. That was what I was asking for, something from the universe, from God, and he gave it to me. And so it was it. He gave me what I needed, so now I needed something else. And I was telling him that I was going to go work for another agency, which I will not name. God bless you, Cecilia. And he said to me, come work for me. And I said, well, I don't have the degree. He was like, no, I'm changing all that.
Yes.
And so I started working for Sean as a trans coordinator. And he was like, no, you will not be a trans coordinator. I see your talent. I see your intelligence. I see who you are. And you're going to be my director of programs. And he spoke with the Department of Education. He spoke with the Department of Health. He spoke with all those people who were holding our grants. And he said to them, it's not about the education, it's about the experience. Because the education tells you what you should do, but the experience tells you what you must do. And with that, he brought me into that space, and I was able to work. I was able to walk from, as a person with agoraphobia, I was able to, and if you don't know what that is, you can look it up, it's Google. I was able to leave my house and walk just a few blocks and go into a job that I felt safe. So I was good. I was posting photos. I was going into the mirror, and we were only in a cubicle. And I saw that we were working really hard. And then we moved from the cubicle into another workspace. And I was like, yes, I'm on the right track. I have everything. And at that point also, I had just, it's just so much. Do y'all have time?
We do.
And I was just in that space of where I felt like I was dying, because I was not in the completion of me. And every one of us has a version of ourselves that's complete. And my completion meant that I had to have my gender affirming surgery. And I didn't have it, but there was Sean with the job. So that set me off in a certain place. And then at that same time, because of Strut, Tom Leonardis and Whoopi Goldberg, who were executive producers, Tom Leonardis invites me to this gala. God bless you, Cecilia. And at that gala, I met the doctor that would do my surgery. Wow. And she says to me, oh, I'm going to do your surgery. And I'm looking at this woman that looks like almost half of the age that I'm supposed to look like. And I'm like, no. And she's like, I'll call you. And so I started working at Destination Tomorrow. And then she calls me and she says, come in, you have a consultation, and we're going to look at, and see. And after the consultation, she calls me back and she says, your surgery is June 29th.
I know that's right.
And I was like, oh, well, hello, everything is just lining up. I have the job. I don't have to worry about this degree or this bachelorette, and then now I can have my vagina? What? Come on. Everything is great. This is the world. And so as I'm working and I'm happy, and we do Bronx Pride, and Sean makes these strides, and we're really standing up for ourselves, I'm going into surgery. And about 3 weeks before I go into surgery, I get this call saying that, oh, you can audition for Pose. But it wasn't Pose. They didn't say it was Pose. And I thought I was auditioning for Ryan Reynolds, and it was Ryan Murphy. And it was my father, one of my father's Hector Extravaganza, as we were going in a cab, because he was with me through every part of my surgery. And I'm going in for consultation. I'm like, you know what, Dad? You don't even look anything like him. But anyway.
I didn't think it
Thank you. It was just a reference. And I'm like, Dad, I just got this thing to audition for Ryan Reynolds. And, it's like, but I don't. And he goes, do it, daughter. Just do it. But I will tell you this, whatever you do, understand that it's not about the flair. It's about the work. So we go in and we do all the surgery stuff, and I go to the audition, and I never think any of this is going to go anywhere. And then I get the call back. And I was like, wait, what? So to answer your question, I was already in a space of yes. I had already planned to adopt a child. I had gone to the Dominican Republic with Sage and my sister Jacinia, and we were just like, I was just like, okay, yes, I'm going to go back. I'm going to adopt this child. This is the life that I have. But there was a part of me that kept saying there was more. Right? As I would sit and I would watch I was watching all the CSI Miami and all that stuff. And I would watch all the shows and everything like that. And I would listen to all the things that people would say to me, like David Altima and R.R. Chanel, who did my first freaking comp card. Y'all don't know that. Right. And my sister Eve, who would tell me, oh my gosh, you're going to be a model. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no, thank y'all
Shout out
all
Eve.
for all that,
She
all
sent it
that
back.
stuff. But I was good. But that good that I felt was a settling, because there was another part of me that was saying, you belong in front of the camera. And then there was the part of me, that part that our oppression calls in, said to me, no, girl, you can't do that. And so I was in a great place because of what society had told me was my place.
And I want to thank you because I called you. I remember I was like, I need to speak to Dominique. When this was happening, I was like, because I'm having these anxiety attacks. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I'm getting so nervous. Like, what do I do? I'm like, was you nervous? Like, did you?
And when you called me, I was like, why is she calling me? I'm a wreck.
But it was good to like see that, and for me, like watching that, you know, and seeing you take those leaps. And earlier we were talking about the inspiration, and you know, like you know that you're one of my inspirations that pour into me for me to keep going, and to hear you relive that, you know, and tell that story. It's just like I'm like, yes, the intersections of when we question what we do and who we are, and the next steps that we should take. I probably already know the answer, but
Don't use your privilege.
The privilege.
what I will say is on Pose, you played Electra, right? And is there any parallels between you, Dominique Jackson, and Electra?
So I did not think that there were parallels between myself and Electra in the beginning, because I did not want to see myself as that rough, raw woman that would just like do anything to get where she needed to be. Because from what society has said to me, when you're like that, you should cower. You should, that's not the way to be. That's not what you consider thing. Fighting for yourself is not a. And then I realized, wow, she's powerful. Like my first season playing Electra, I went home and cried. And not only because I had to deal with someone who, which is my ex-husband, who didn't realize that, and it was, in these moments, I had to really find self-control, because I was looking at the person that was supposed to love me and care for me and told me that they would be there for me, that was saying to me that because now my dreams were being fulfilled, it would mean that their dream, that they were being ignored, not that they were on that path. So that part was tough. And then playing Electra, I saw this resilient woman. I saw this woman that was like, okay, you know what? I will tell my children I love them, and I will make them rob the Salvation Army, and then I will take that money and get my pussy. I was like, why can't I be that bold? And but you have to learn your limits. And so Electra, for me in the beginning, was scary. She was thing, but I remembered sitting in the bar in Two Potato with Paris Dupree. And Paris would do in my eyes in this white gown and pull off the lashes and everything like that. And then after we would sit at the bar and like drink Royal Curse, I would drink Royal Curse, champagne and Chambord. And Paris would have the 151. And when they were drinking. And then it was like, they would tell me these stories. And it was not until I was reading the script for Electra and battling this, I have to be a nice person, with, oh my gosh, this is reality. This is like my life. This is survival. I am not taking from you because I want to hurt you. I'm taking from you because you don't see me and you won't give me the ability to earn what I need to earn. So I have to take it from you. So I had to realize all of that. And I realized that Electra was a part of me. Electra is the part of all of us that is ready to stand up for ourselves. And Electra is the part of us that we can't control sometimes. That part that says, bitch, I'm going to read you for filth because it's you or me. And so Electra also taught me. But I do align with Electra a lot in the sense that now I have no qualms or quirks about setting boundaries. I am unafraid to speak my mind. And if you attempt to, put me down or negate me, I am not afraid to stand up for myself. So I do relate to Electra, and I thank Electra for what she has taught me.
Growing up, I was able to meet you. I don't know if you remember. It was a while ago. It was at the clubhouse, and I met you through. It was me, Katrina, and Tigger.
Katrina,
Yes.
Katrina is my sister, but was like a daughter to me. And when I
Yes.
lived in a closet in Jersey, Katrina and Tariq were my people. Katrina came in and would always give me that strength and would come and pick me up and bring me out, because you telling me about 14th Street and I hated it. And Katrina would come in and she would be there. She gave me love. She gave me support.
Yeah.
She was there for me, and we kind of grew apart, but I would never, actually we even lived together.
Yeah.
At times. We went out to Staten Island and lived there. We almost went to jail.
Katrina.
Yes,
Katrina?
performance
Hurricane.
Katrina.
Hurricane.
Yes,
Shout out to the
like
hurricane.
that to me, Katrina is hard. That is my little sister. That is love.
So, maybe I think I was 15 then.
Oh my God.
Tahiri, I don't know if you remember
Oh,
Tahiri.
gosh.
He had started a place called he had started the Kiki scene. And I remember I was at the clubhouse with Katrina, and you walked in the building and you had walked a category. I'm not for sure if it was face or runway, but I think it was face, and you won. But you came in and you were just striking. You walked right in and you came straight to walk. And you weren't in the conversations and trying to key with people. You came to do what you was doing, and you was out and you spoke to people that you knew. But you were so striking, and me being so young, it just touched me on different people. But seeing you walking so resilient, so beautiful, was really just inspiring to me. And you was just so nice to us. A lot of the times, especially at 14, back in the day, I'm sorry, 15, back in the day at that time, the legends and icons that we did meet, not saying, we get it, they weren't so nice, they wasn't so pleasant at some times, and you were so pleasant to us. Like, and you always not warned us to stay away from things, but you just said, be mindful of the place that you are at. And I want to know, how did you get into ballroom?
Whew. Okay. So a lot of the things that I said to you back then were because I didn't think I would live. I didn't think, and they still stand true to this day, but I didn't think I would live. I thought I was always on borrowed time. And when I saw your youth and your beauty, and I knew that you didn't have to go through the things that I had to go through, and one of those things was actually being an immigrant. I didn't want you to waste your time. My thing was giving back to my community, not because, I felt like I had the power, but because I knew that I didn't have the chance. And because I felt like I didn't have the chance, I didn't want to cut it off for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that you can have that chance too.
Yeah.
And the clubhouse days were days that was when I actually did the DL Stats program, and I brought the community, and I apologize to my community for that, because bringing testing into the community when you're trying to party and enjoy yourself and stuff like that was really, it wasn't psychologically correct. However, y'all wouldn't listen. Like nobody, like it was like I was sitting in places, and especially having the opportunity to be able to volunteer my work at the Bronx Community Pride Center. It was like I was seeing people sit in front of me, like 13-year-olds telling me that they wanted to become HIV positive because they could get a house or they could get this, and then realizing that you're under 18, so no one is giving you an apartment. It was for me. It was so much about, oh my gosh, you don't realize the opportunities that you have. And so I wanted you to realize that without trying to put you down for it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't mad at your
No,
youth or
you weren't.
mad at anything. I was just, and of course, I didn't live in the fact that things couldn't happen for me, because
No, you
for
were
me
so
it was
nice.
like let it happen for you. I know it can't happen for me, and then everything turned around.
Yeah.
So in speaking to you back then and in trying to work for my community, it came out of a sense of me thinking that I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Of me thinking that I want you to carry on that torch. I want everyone that has the opportunity. If you are a U.S. citizen, if you have the ability to be able to go, like people talk about food stamps and all that stuff. As an illegal immigrant, if I was able to get food stamps, I would be, what? Like, it was not something to put down.
Yeah.
And I wanted all of you to see the opportunities that
Yeah.
you had. I didn't want to sit because, so let's just get this out of the way. There was a woman that saw me in my day where I was a part of the house, and then I wasn't a part of the house, and then I was more, and then I wasn't more, and then she showed up and she said, I don't want you to live here. I want you to come live with me. And I was like, okay, this is gonna just be another ballroom thing. But what it was that she saw me. She saw the woman that I was. She saw that my femininity was not a comparison. It was not a trend. It was me. And she said to me, I don't want you sitting here on drugs. I don't want you this. I will give you this opportunity. And this is the same woman that when I came into Ballroom and I was at a club in Philly, there was a woman pointing a gun at her. And she was like, you want to kill me? Go ahead. And a house mother stepped in front of her, and well, it wasn't my house mother yet. The house mother stepped in front of her and was like, no, you want to kill my daughter? No, this is not happening. And I'm like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I was facing the, you're not pretty enough. You don't have body. So you can't be this, you can't be that. And there were those people that were giving me life. She came to New York, she saw where I was living, and she took me from that, took me to her house. She took care of me, she helped me, and she just changed everything about it. She even told me, she was like, listen, girl, you may be feeling great about yourself, but you know, that G-string gotta come off sometime. You can't wear the gap forever, because I was one of those girls, I'm not taking it off because it's not supposed to be there. And she gave me that space. And because of what she gave to me, what Aura gave to me, what people like RR and people may say RR may be evil and he's this and he's that, but RR pulled me to the side. RR was like, listen, I need you to show up here. And if you're gonna show up, show up. And I'm doing your comp card. And that was my first comp card. David Ultima said to me, why are you here? And for a lot of times I couldn't say to them, it's not that I'm on drugs. It's not that it's the drinks. It's I don't have a green card. I can't do anything. But they were there. They were pushing. So when I got the opportunity to be that person that y'all looked up to, it was, let me not take this as a privilege or something for you to worship, but to tell you what it is like to, in reality, to live so that you don't have to go through what I go through.
Yeah, that was a good question, AJ, because I always wondered, because you was that girl who, like, you know, we looked up to, and she came in a ball and did her thing, but you were on Christopher Street talking to people, like, you know, you were the people.
She came to GMAC.
They loved you, yeah.
She came to HMI, and
they
these
did.
spaces that we were able to not just. She was able to really give us educational pieces, and it wasn't coming from my opinion. It wasn't coming from bitterness. It was coming from just, this is my experience.
Y'all, I
This
was
is what
in
it
so
is.
much pain.
It was beautiful. To
I
me.
was like, to be an immigrant in this country is not an easy thing. To be trans and have no family, and like 4th and Spring Garden was a safe place for me. When I walked into, and sometimes like people have come to me and they have been like, oh, you don't really support the balls, you don't go to balls. there's trauma. There's pain there. Like, I felt the most beautiful and walked into a ball and everyone voted for me. And then the people that were throwing the ball came upstage and said, oh, well, you know what? This is our ball and we're overturning all the judges' votes. And that was a moment, huh?
Was that the one where it was like bringing with a new look?
Yeah. And I was, it was just in that sense of, wow, you don't see me. I remember walking a face category, right? And the mother of my house felt that I didn't compare to the rest of the girls. And so that was like devastating. It's like, wait, aren't you supposed to help me here? And then my father, and I love Al, and I will talk about him all the time. I love Al, but Al,
you probably about to go to my next question.
Al helped me realize that I can say fuck you and you're gonna love me, because Al was like, I don't see it. And I was like, and all the girls were bodied out, and I just wasn't that.
I was gonna say, how did you not succumb to that? Like, what made you, because you did, like, that's what made you stand out. Like, a lot of us, you know, we felt the pressures of feeling like, oh, I need to get this body, or I need to do such and such, or change, you know, these things. And you didn't do that.
Well, a part of that was like, a man could never tell me what a woman is supposed to look like, because you've never been a woman. You have no ideology about a woman. And the only way you see a woman is through sexual ways or comparing us to be your mother. So
shout out to my father. You had the best intentions, but he do be.
He was stern.
He
I
is stern.
I feel like the men of the community see us as dolls, so they use that time
that they can put us on the shelf and say,
no, well, see, I was not there. Like, and what happened was, I had, again, there were those people that were very pivotal in my comprehension of me, because here was Zoe, that many of you don't know, but his connection was to Shaka Chanel, Shaka Mikoko. And Shaka was like, you're not doing that. We're taking you somewhere else. And they took me into this place with all these Jamaican people. And I'm like, I'm dead. I'm so dead. I'm not real. I'm done. I'm dead. Woo, Jamaica, you know, and it's not Jamaicans of 2024. We're talking Jamaicans of the 90s. What?
They even had songs. Remember the song?
What? Chichiman, like, right. And Zoe and Shaka had this truth and belief in me. And Shaka was like, you're coming in here. And so when I get in there and I see Shaka, I'm like, ah! I'm like, yes, of course they like you. You're flamboyant. You're gay. You're whatever. Yeah, they like you. And he was like, it's okay.
Rest in peace.
And and it was afterward, these boys had given me their numbers and everything like that. And I'm just like, and I was never the girl. I don't play that. I'm not playing that. Hurt my feelings. Let me try to tell you something else. You have to know it up front. So when these boys were calling me, and I'm like, so listen, yeah, do you know? And that was my stupidity too. I thought that I was so unreal that they already knew. So they were just being brave. And then when they called, it was like, yeah, so but I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't want to see your, like, just, you know, give me the pee-pee. Let's, you know, I don't want nothing else. And then they were like, you're what? I was like, oh, you don't, what? And it was happening constantly. So it was
different back then.
But you know what?
I was saying that.
But guess what it was? What it was is what it is that for some of us, they see us and they see our truth even when we don't see it. So these men gave me the opportunity to realize that I am who I am. And what people in Ballroom did to try to compare me, right? Because in Ballroom, I am so sorry. You do not have and my sister's going to be a little bit upset with me because I don't see the realness category in the sense of anyone telling me that I'm not a woman. You don't have that right. And so it was like I would watch these categories, and then it was the realness category. And you're like, you want to rub my hand and lift my chin back and like, look at my neck. No, I should punch you in the fucking face. How dare you? Like, what? So I never saw the realness category because you're not going to tell me what type of woman I am when I know and I have seen and I've ridden the train with women that people believed were men. And one of the times that really stands with me is when I was on the train and they were like reading this woman to the point of where they were going to beat her. And the man nudges me. He's like, this is what a real woman is. And I'm sitting here like, what, me? But then I get into the fact that, wait, what it is like this whole gender thing, this whole what a man is supposed to look like and what a woman is supposed to look like is all made up. It's about what you feel. It's about your femininity.
Demure.
So, right. So.
Well, I'm not gonna be mad at you for, you know, saying
And you
that.
shouldn't. And
We've had
I
our
won't give you that.
conversations, you know, but one of the things I do want to ask you is, you know, like I said, like we talk. So one thing that I did want to ask you is coming up. Like I know that we've had a lot of women in our lives. We had Danielle. We've had many women who were like out there that we look up to. Who were some women in Ballroom that influenced you?
Oh my gosh. There's a list, and maybe there's a list that goes outside the door because all of the women, many of the women influenced me. When I first walked into Ballroom, I saw Pepper Orr in Montana. And it was the grace, the elegance. I saw Moldavia La Beja, my dad now Samson, and with respect, I won't speak about that because out of respect for my dad Samson, who really helped me. Then there was Amanda Milan, who I shared with my sister Eve. We shared about fragrances, and I thought that was so beautiful. Eve always wore Alfred Sung and Il Basio, and these were the fragrances that brought me into the understanding that my femininity was beautiful, and I can live in these fragrances. Then there's Brenda Milan, who would make me curry goat because she wanted me to be able to go back to the essence of my community. Then there's Angela Carrera, who was graceful and beautiful. Then you have, oh my gosh, there are so many women. Duchess Lawang. Let's talk about Jojo Ebony. Let's talk about Letitia. Like, you see, there was a space of women that owned and had them. It wasn't about a trend. It was about, and back then, passability was not, it was more about your elegance. We wanted to be eloquent. We wanted to be in a space where we could not be denied. And to not be denied meant that you did not deny your truth. You did not deny where you came from, but you let them realize that you can exist in any space. So I could wear the fur coat and I could stand with you and I could speak about the presidents. I could speak about legislation. I can speak about advocacy. And then I can put on whatever the hell I wanted to and go twerk.
Thank you.
What? Yes, thank you. I see where you get
Where I get
the
the what?
names, like
Because
always
it's
speaking
important. The
names.
reason why it's important.
I know
that,
why you
yeah.
told us, but I'm just saying.
Look, she said, I know
Because
why
she
you
was
ain't
about to
say
go
anything.
deep.
No, because I know
No.
She was about to go
about to
deep.
go Steve. You already told us. Like, no, but I see that she does it well, and I think it's wonderful, and I think we should all learn from it, and that we should start doing it, speaking the names more. Like,
Yeah.
speaking the names of the people that came before us or inspired us or helped us along the
But
way.
it's so important because first off, how can you feel secure and strength in your power and your existence if you do not acknowledge those that came before you? When I see girls challenging, or not even girls, let me be really general in this. When I see people in general just challenging their ancestors, their pioneers, the one that paved the way, to me, it's just like, okay, if I sound stupid, nod, smile, and give me my wheelchair, push me off to the side, but don't fight. Don't. It's not an argument because you don't know what I had to go through in order
So
for
you
you to
could
be
be
able to
here.
stand where
Say
you
that.
are. And then at the same time, it is not for me to use the fact that I was there, that I have been there, that I changed everything to oppress you.
That part.
Yes. So, getting back to, so when you hit, like you, Pose was so successful. You know, what is it like to come off of something so big and now you have the stresses of what's next? Like, you know, how is that the in between time, the auditions and trying to land the next thing? How does that affect you daily?
So it speaks very much to art. And it speaks very much to the understanding of, are you here for the money or are you here for the art of it? And I'm here for the art of it. So when this all happened, it was everyone else that saw that, oh, she got money. They didn't know what was going into my bank account at all. And Pose was in 2018. And I will tell you that every time I get a gig, my Cash App blings. So if I did so that's another part of this that y'all don't get. Acting is an ability to be able to share stories, to pull yourself into another person's shoes, literally, to becoming Bloody Mary. It was embracing Santo. It was embracing voodoo, obia. It was embracing all of these cultures and not being afraid of them, and understanding that when I stepped in front of that camera, I had to respect everyone who was a part of this, who understood it. Even though in my sense, my mother was like, I know you're not playing no damn Bloody Mary. What is wrong with you? We could not look at Star Trek when we came to the US and I was growing up, because it was like, Worf is a demon and he's going to jump out of the screen and he's going to possess you. And now here I am playing Bloody Mary. And in understanding the way that Bloody Mary was written, it was about an African woman who became a slave. And because of losing her son, she delved into our ancestry and what we know as gods and goddesses and our myth before religion and Christianity was forced upon us. You got to see the art of life, right? And so Bloody Mary was about this woman who lost her child, killed right in front of her. And because of that, the power within her rose so deeply that she became this woman captured in this mirror that dealt all of these things. And who are we in this election right now, right? There are a lot of Bloody Marys. It's not about the gore. It's about the poetic. It's about the art of it. It's about touching into what is happening in our actual world at this time and make it in a sense where you're like, oh, it's the gore. But that tells you where you are. Because when you only see the gore, you don't see the fact of us losing the ability to say that this is our child and I can keep my child, or my child will not survive in this world and this is a harm to me. So abortion, I have to do this. And abortion is not just about, okay, you're getting rid of a child because you were having sex. And men, we gotta, you gotta understand something. You put those children in there, so you gotta understand that sometimes it's complicated for women. Yeah. So we have to realize that everything is connected. So my art, my ability to play these horrific characters, to work on Queens of the Dead and do all that stuff, we go from a religious perspective and talk about, oh, God will never like that. But God needs us to find that so that we can understand what it is like to be on the other side.
So before we go to the Go Ball, I would like to ask you, what advice would you give to the new generation on the girls that sometimes they feel pressured to getting surgeries, to being like other girls that's getting their life in ballroom? Sometimes it makes you want to get surgeries or get things that other girls are getting. What inspires you? What advice would you give them?
So I believe that surgery is something that is very, very, very personal.
Yeah.
And as someone that was constantly forced to have surgery and denied it, I felt the consequences of that. I would walk face categories and they would tell me I didn't have body, so I wouldn't win. They would eliminate me. I would always constantly hear that, oh, she's not real. She's not this, she's not that. But then when Shaka and Shaka Mikoko, like I spoke of earlier, took me into the fashion world, it was a total turnaround because it was like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. You're so da da da. And in Ballroom, they were telling me that I needed hips and I needed this and and if you don't have that, and I'm just like, okay, it's confusing. And it was working at one of those fashion shows where the Jamaican boys were there and I was scared of them and looking at the girls and the girls are looking at me and my shirt comes off and I'm moaning, but I don't have like the breast, you know, that I feel a breast. And the girl looks at me and she's like, girl, you got titties. And I'm like, what? And she's like, look, and she takes off her shirt, and I'm in this space where there are women that are like me, and they don't have big boobs. Some of them only had nipples. And being in the fashion world, I realized that that's where I fit in. So to any woman out there that is contemplating surgery because of what other people are telling you, or because you're feeling like you're not enough, don't do it because you will regret it. I went for a mammogram and you know what the silicone cups are. And when people were doing silicone, and I know, I think you wanted to ask me this, Chastity. And when people were doing silicone, it's the Listerine cup that you were getting. And when I showed up at the table, I was like, wait a second. I am so desperate to become who I know I am, that I'm willing to risk my life because this person that's pumping me has no freaking experience with medicine. They probably have not even graduated high school, and I'm allowing you to inject something into my body that you don't even know what it is. You're not a doctor. But then we have to look at the fact, and when I see what I was willing to do with my body in order to get to that goal, I realize why a lot of my sisters do it. It's not about being a microwave bitch. It's about trying to get to that space where you feel like you. So when you say to a girl, oh, take your time, you don't know what's going on in their head when they're thinking to themselves, I want to walk down the street and I want to feel like the ultimate love. So we have to make the space and the provision for people to understand and comprehend that these procedures that we undertake, we have to make sure that they are for us. We cannot compare ourselves to anyone else. I would have loved to be Octavia St. Laurent or Modavia LaBeija, but I'm not. That's their path. Yeah. That's who they are, right? And God bless Octavia. But for me, when I look at me, I am satisfied and beyond satisfied with who I am. I am a skinny girl. I'm not going to gain weight because you tell me I'm skinny and I'm on drugs. I can't. That affected me for a very long time because it was like, what is wrong with me? I'm skinny. Yes, I was on the drugs. Yes, I think, but you on the drugs and you're 300 pounds. So it's not that. So pull it together. So for any of you out there, I will say to you, understand your you. Understand what is for you. Some of us will be Barbie dolls. Some of us will not. Some of us will work in fashion. Some of us will work for UPS. That does not devalue who you are. It does not.
It's on.
Huh?
The mic is on.
It's always been. right? And we have to, and who you are is not an embarrassment to you. If society tries to tell you that you're an embarrassment, it's because they are afraid of your truth. Like I go into my yard, I
Yeah.
uprooted trees and leaves,
I be gagging.
and
I
people
be
were looking at
gagging.
me like, women don't do that. Says who?
It it just
Says
shocks me to
who?
see you do it. That's all. Because for me, it's like I see you with the gloves. You know, I'm afraid of bugs, so I always run from you when you out
I
there.
know why.
But you will literally chop down the trees on your lawn. I would
Yes.
see you do stuff like that.
Because it's my lawn.
Right.
And I worked hard for that. And I'm not going to sit around and wait
And
for
your place is
somebody
really
else.
nice.
Yeah, and just to tell someone else so that I could show the rest of the ballroom, oh, I have someone cutting my lawn. Yeah, I have someone cutting my lawn, but I can't buy my shoes and I can't pay the mortgage. No. I'll cut my own lawn and pay the mortgage.
So I do have a question for you. You know, as the overseer in Ballroom, like you are still like one of, you know, the girls from the era who is still so relevant and do so much for community, and you still love Ballroom. There was two questions I have for you, but I'm going to try to throw them in one. One is, why did you think the women from our era or from your era, from our era, don't come out anymore? And two, as the overseer of the House of Margiela, what direction do you see the house going in?
So one, as far as the women of our era not coming out anymore, they have lives. They move on. Ballroom was a place for us to grow. And sometimes your growth does not mean that you have to show up all the time. For me, sometimes it's quite painstaking to watch some of those that should be held in reverence on the floor battling with those that are up and coming. It's like, give them their space. That's what I feel. I feel like as the overseer of the house, as I feel like as an elder in this community, I went through what I went through. I experienced what I went through. And now I'm in a different place where I can help make what I went through not exist so that the rest of my community can enjoy life. So for me to show up at a ball and not go to work when my work does a lot more than me showing up at the ball, and people don't understand that, it's crazy to me. It doesn't mean that I don't love Ballroom. When I said I am Ballroom, that was in a drunken, angry, travel-related, jet-lagged state. And I meant it. I am Ballroom. I am that girl that knows that I can have $300,000 worth of clothes in my closet and don't have my rent. I know that I am that girl that's gonna be resilient and have to do whatever. Yeah, you get. I'm gonna have to do what I have to do. But that does not.
like that.
What?
Is that Ballroom?
They was.
That's Ballroom.
I don't know if they still like that, but they was.
Yeah.
It's shaking.
I love you, sis. So as the overseer of Margiela, what do you see? What would you like to see the future of Margiela?
I would like to see the house of. You setting me up.
Okay.
Because
wanted to ask.
the House of Margiela, as an overseer, I believe that is not my place to dictate, but it is my place to exactly what it says, oversee and to guide. So when the House members are not able to come to an understanding, that is where I step in. But you have to give allowance. You have to give the ability for growth and the evolving of our world, of our community, and things will change. And if you step into the place of overseer as a dictator, as trying to preserve what you knew was right for you, you are denying the future to others. So as an overseer, what I see for the House of Margiela is growth. I see if there's gonna be a category where it says twerk your ass off and fart, I'm gonna have to support that because it's what's there. There's some people that needed that, so they needed that. So as an overseer, it is for us to be willing to give allowance to the growth, to the expansion, to the evolvement of our community, and not be restricted in the sense of keeping our members to what keeps us safe, because it's what worked for us when we were younger.
Okay. Well, it's time to get to that gold bowl.
Let's
All right,
go.
ladies?
The gold bowl.
Gold bowl.
The gold bowl.
This
Oh, get the
bitch
gold bowl.
digging in
Then
the
the
gold
with the gold bowl.
We will be right back, and our guest will be going in the gold bowl.
Hey, don't forget to click, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. And hit the bell notification in the right-hand side of your screen so you'll be notified when we drop new episodes every week, Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. Continue to follow Femme Queen Crazy, Sexy, and Cool.
So you know what time it is. This is where we get crazy, we get sexy, and we get cool. This is the Femme Queen Crazy and Sexy Cool Shot Game Hour. And we're about to get messy with the girls. Stay tuned.
All right, I
What's
guess
up?
we ready.
We going in the gold bowl. What's good?
Let's get
You
it.
ready for the
Go,
bowl?
go, go, go. This bitch digging in the go, bowl.
Oh, Miss H just said that something that she don't want to
Oh,
sing
now
the
she don't
gold bowl.
what?
We're supposed to
she's
sing that when
teaching
she's
you.
actually going in the ball.
Okay, so
Going in
let's
the
wait till
ball.
she go
Okay,
in
go in
the
the
bowl.
bowl,
Okay.
please.
Are you ready?
You gotta,
You gotta pick.
You ready?
you
Go
gotta
ahead.
take
I have to
3
pick it up
questions.
and shake
Pick
it up.
and shake it up and go.
Okay.
If you don't answer the questions, you have to take a shot.
All right, so do what you got to do.
No, your shots are
first-
there.
Oh,
First, pick up the bowl,
okay.
and then like start shaking it, and we're gonna sing it.
Oh, woomba, woomba, woomba.
Okay, you ready?
Set.
1, 2, 3. Go bowl, the go bowl. This bitch digging in the go bowl. She don't want to say it again.
Did they call me a
Did
bitch?
it sweat. Yeah.
I don't even know what these people are going through,
Use it
but
as a term of endearment here.
never that. Well, that's good for you. Okay. And my question is, what is your opinion on the current state of ballroom? A mess. No, I'm just joking. Actually, I think that ballroom right now is absolutely amazing. Nothing is ever perfect, but I believe that where we are right now, I mean, come on. Weren't you in Korea?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And my son Africa was in Korea too. Right. And then we have so much going on, like Femme Queen, Crazy, Sexy, Cool. I believe that all of this is bred out of ballroom. You have me that is an actor. You have other people in our community. You have Jason Bauman, who is really in politics and has really done a lot with the
out to Jason.
Shout out to
Kamala,
Jason.
yes, a campaign. You have Jack Mizrahi, who is all over the world. You know, you have so many things that are happening in ballroom right now. So the current state of ballroom to me is actually fire.
You ready? Next question.
Okay, I have to shake it up again. Okay.
Go
Sing
bowl.
again.
This bitch digging in the go
Stop
bowl.
calling me a bitch. Gosh. Oh. Okay. Spill some juicy behind the scenes tea from the set of American Gods.
I actually loved you. I just want to say I loved you and that. It was so amazing.
Okay, that shit was so professional. Like, I was on set, and when we were on set on Pose, it was like you walk around the corner and Jason would be in a dip, and India would be trying to dip, and MJ would be voguing, and McKella, excuse me, would be voguing, and all that kind of stuff. On American Gods, we're ready for you. It was very, very different. So yeah, it was not a thing. And I also learned a lot because I didn't understand what it would be to like swap characters and how they would do that and stuff like that. So American Gods was also, and I know you wanted a juicy answer or whatever.
That was a juicy answer.
The
That
tea,
was juicy.
That was
but
good.
That was juicy.
like one of the tea about all of this is that what you see post production we were not turning up behind set.
Yeah.
It was not you have to be professional. You have to be there in the moment. You have to memorize your lines and find that character. So on Pose, we were able to run around and play and everything like that. But on American Gods, it was so serious. It was like sitting there for 14 hours. And when they said, come on, it's time to go, you had to be on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our last question. Your last question.
Okay.
The
The go-go. This girl take it in the go-go.
Gotta respect your guys.
And honestly, it's not like for all those women out there who believe that, being called a bitch, I have nothing against you. That's great. That's your power and everything like that. But I just don't see myself with a leash and going woof. So.
Well, I do.
I'm like, bitch.
I like this. If you walked a ball today, who would you want to battle? All of you. All of you.
They're retired.
Would I even walk? Like, it'll be
For
one
the
of
right
those.
coin.
No, it's not even about the coin. See, and that's the thing about things that y'all have to understand. It's not about the coin, because when I walked, it was about the trophy. It was about your esteem.
moment.
It was about your moment.
Yeah, boo.
It was our thing. So now the coin is great, but it's not about the coin. Like, even with my acting, I need the money because I have bills to pay, but it's about the character, the art. It's like, I love being able to transform, like when I would do shows as a showgirl and stuff like that, I don't look anything like Beyonce, but in my mind, when I transform into that, that's what you're going to see, so that's what it is. So now, because of your Go Bowl, I'm going to give each of you like one question that you could just pop out, which I don't do.
Well, I already popped out my question. I'm fine. Miss Tempress just looked at me. She's ready to go.
No. I didn't expect that, so I wasn't prepared.
I just asked a question.
Go ahead. You can answer.
I know. Yeah.
So I am very strict about my interviews because I don't like interviews at all. I don't like podcasts. I don't like any of that stuff, because not with any of you, but I just feel like when people come into these situations, it's always about me trying to explain who I am. And I am such in a space where I don't feel that I have to explain who I am to anyone. So that's why I really don't do the interviews, and I make sure that all of my questions, talk to me about it. But now I'm saying to you, like, as a Ballroom member, as the love that y'all have given to me, like, ask me those questions in this space.
Well, go for it.
Well, I already did.
Yeah,
I
I don't remember
asked
this. But I'm just gonna come off the whim. What was your favorite house that you was in while you were active in Ballroom?
Wow, that is a good one. And I have to say, and it's no shade to anyone, Maison Margiela is my favorite house for the simple fact that it has mirrored it. Well, give him a moment to key.
See? That's all.
Because Maison Margiela has mirrored the spirit of the House of Allure, the spirit of the House of St. Clair, and in the spirit of the House of Maasai from my brother Mike Robeson, who has always been a major factor. Like, that's my butch queen. Like, a lot of girls have their butch queen, the ones that love them and respect them and would do anything for them. My butch queen is Michael Robeson. And in the House of Maasai, there was a foundation that was built that I was able to set off and understand my place in Ballroom through that. So anything that aligns with that Maasai kind of foundation is something that is amazing to me, and it's where I find my truth. So, the House of Allure, where Al was really dad, and, in the House of Allure, Enrique and Aria, God bless her soul, were my parents, and they still are my parents today. And Aria is not with us. And in the House of Masai, it was Mike, and we were able to build a lot. When we went to the House of Mugler, it was still the House of Masai. When we went to the House of Milan, it was still that foundation of the House of Masai that Michael Robeson always built. And now that we are in Maison Margiela, it is still that foundation that was built in the House of Masai. Come home, Tempress.
And you heard it here.
The mic is really
Mic-
on today.
Michael ain't. No, I'm just kidding.
The mic is on. The mic is
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael. We
Everybody.
love you. Well, we really, I mean, I think that, you know, you've really answered a whole bunch of questions that would have been inside the gold bowl, which is why, like, I was like, it's, you know, it's not, we try to make sure that we get the fun out of it, right? So therefore we get the fun questions. But you've been so informative and sharing space with us that we could put a pin in it, because this is an episode where we were able to be together. People were able to hear more of your story. They were able to understand the nuances between your career and Ballroom. And for me, that's what I wanted, right? You hit my sweet spot. As your sister, like trying to get you to come and sit down, because I know how difficult it is and I know how you are about interviews. It goes to show how much you love me, how much you believe in us, that you will still come and take the time to be here with us. So I want to say thank you for coming.
I have to say to you that in a space where we have women of this magnitude doing what you're doing is amazing. And then you have my foundation, Eve Harlow, that is right there. Like, you know, and one of the most amazing things about Eve that I absolutely love is that in my entire journey, not one time has she ever, and Tabytha, you know about this because I said it to you, not one time has she ever picked up that phone and said, "You owe me." And, you know, that is really huge, because for me, I am very, very much grateful to everyone. Like, even the people that bought me a drink at the bar when I came in the bar and I was dealing with issues and stuff like that, I remember. But when you force that on me, it's difficult. And, like, I tell y'all, if it were not for my sister, that woman I was speaking about earlier, if it were not for her, one of the main reasons I'm here today, and Tabytha, I love you with all my heart. Tempress, I love you. Asia, I love you too. And I admire you all. Tabytha, you know you're my sister. One of the main reasons I'm here is because I see the person that said to me, "You have life. And yeah, you're a mess right now, but I'm going to give you the little that I have to help you grow." And when I said to Eve I was moving back to New Jersey and I had everything that I needed, I could see in her that she had accomplished what she needed to accomplish. And for me to be here today, I will tell you, there are many people that have helped guide me. And to each and every one of you out there, look at those people who shake your hand or hold you or hug you, or when you're crying, you feel low, you feel like you're nothing. Look to those people. It doesn't matter if they're on drugs or if they don't have the space. If they have the space for you at that time, what's going on in their life doesn't matter. That is not something you should use against them. Feel that love, feel that care. And that's what Eve did to me. That's what Tabytha had to do for me when I was in a space where I was ready to lock all of this out. I didn't want to be bothered because it was a back and forth with the, well, you're this and you're that, and you can't tell me who I am. I have to tell you who I am. And Tabytha and Eve and my husband have been these people in my life that have been able to let me know it's okay to be me. Even though when they get mad at you, they may go crazy. But they let you know that,
unless you go crazy.
let they know that, you know, so we have each other. And the one thing I will also say, because this is a ballroom platform, stop. Like, seriously, stop with the shade. That shade that everyone else is telling y'all that is so beautiful and so great and they admire you for, what they are is entertained. To be shady to each other is unnecessary. A part of me, you asked me why I don't come to balls. Well, I'll tell you. When I was ready to come to balls, there were fires in hotels. There were tables being thrown and axes. There was bear mace. There was like, and y'all, and y'all don't realize that it's sometimes for the girls, like that's not cool. It's not. I don't feel safe, and it may mean like, okay, yeah, I could be over here in this room, and that's going on over there, but I'm not that girl anymore. I'm not ready to fight my own people. I'm not ready to see my own people fight each other. I don't want to see that. I want to see us compete and enjoy it and use the fact that we competed against each other to be able to prep us for what we can do in the outer world. Let's attack the outer world with our talent, not each other. So when you ask me why you don't come to balls, it's because I'm not going to tell you what to do with yourselves. I'm just going to remove myself so that you can be you and find that out, because I've gotten to a place where I know me. And sometimes me is not the person that people need me to be, but it's the person that you need.
Love you, sis.
Thank you so much. And we really, truly appreciate having you here. I've learned so much. One thing that I take from it too as well is that, as I always say, is that we build so many relationships that help propel us. And the names that you mentioned, like Shaka Mikoko and Ala Lore, and just like these different people who bridge us together. And we are just like a big old family.
And Brenda Milan.
And Brenda Milan, like all the
And
people,
Sean
all the
Coleman.
names. We can go on and on and on. We love like everybody. And you have been in another installment of Femme Queen Crazy.
Sexy.
Cool.
Deuces.